Battery's connected. Radio's on. Arm. Throttle. It restarts. The fuck? Restarts.
More than lyricist in this rap metropolis, more like an activist. We give it to you all. Presentation will make you have a ball. Sounds are conceiving, causing you to meditate. Manipulate the mind with hypnotical legislate. Be far from the fakes. We never fake moves.
Alright guys, welcome back to my channel. And in today's video, we're going to talk about the changes that I had to make to the Mode 2 Stiletto to actually get it to fly. Alright guys, first and foremost, with the Stiletto, the build went together pretty easily. The Millivolt OSD, there's actually only two things you actually have to solder on to that flight controller, and it's actually bridging two pads to work with the FR Sky, the inversion of the FR Sky system, and then another one that you have to bridge to get the current sensing for your on-screen display, which I'm not using the on-screen display, so it really didn't matter for me on that one. After the build, I went through RaceFlight's software program to get the tune and the configuration and all that jazz onto the Stiletto. After I did that, I tried to get it to test hover. I could not get the build to test hover. As soon as I give throttle input, the flight controller would reboot. And I didn't know what was going on with it. I thought it was an ESC problem. I did go through the process of updating the BL Heli 32 using RaceFlight's pass-through, which you actually install Clean Flight on the flight controller. You use the BL Heli program to actually update the ESC. Did that, still couldn't get it to do anything. As soon as I would plug the battery in, arm the quad, give it throttle to try to lift it to get it to hover, the flight controller would reboot. So what I did, I started looking on Slack, I started looking on Discord, and saw that some other guys were having the same problem, and the mention was to actually flip the flight controller so that the gyro is facing down. I mean, I don't know what to think about that. I think it's kind of ridiculous. With all my revolts that I've built with RaceFlight, I've never had that problem. It didn't matter which way the board orientation was, because you go through the program where you set the quad flat and then you stand it up so that the software can actually program the orientation of the board. Well, none of that worked with the gyro actually facing up. You got to have the gyro facing down with the Millivolt OSD. And I don't know if it's an ongoing thing, I don't know if it's a new thing, but again, there's not much information out there about the Millivolt OSD, but that is a thing. You have to face the gyro down to actually get the quad to fly. Once I figured out, hey, flipping the flight controller face down, it will actually arm and fly. I flew 2 packs through it, and then it just stopped arming. I couldn't get it to arm again. So I had to go through, again, time and effort, trying to figure out what's going on with the quad. Looking at Discord, asking questions on there, people giving me responses. I finally just reflashed the board. Actually, I went through the wizard to set up the controller again, and it actually worked. So I've only flown 2 packs through the Stiletto just to try to get it to test and see what's going on with the Millivolt. There were a few things that I had to change to get the spacing within the frame, so that the ESC, that Spark 32 50 amp ESC, and the Millivolt and my FR Sky RXSR would all fit in the stack. First and foremost, I think the stack comes with whatever. I think they're 25 millimeter standoffs. Well, I had to change those. I had to put 30 millimeter standoffs in the frame so I could have that extra 5 millimeters of clearance. Secondly, since I did that, the side plates for the camera no longer worked because the bottom plate and the top plate was up 5 more millimeters. These side plates did not work. Now, like I said, I've actually got 5 ghost builds, 3 with RaceFlight and 2 with Betaflight. But on those builds, 3 of them I've changed the top plate to the pod, the canopy that Brain 3D prints. So I had the stock TPU mounts for the camera for the Mode 2 Ghost. They work fine in the Mode 2 Stiletto. I'm going to start calling this thing the Mini Ghost. But they work fine on this build, so I can use the camera. And I did switch out the camera. I went back to the Runcam Micro Swift 2 because, again, I was having problems with the Predator. I really didn't like the colors and what was going on with the Predator, so I switched it out. But as you can tell, these are 30 millimeter standoffs with the Runcam Swift Micro 2, and I'm using the stock TPU mounts that come with the Mode 2 Ghost to actually mount the camera. And again, with the gyro, the Millivolt OSD flipped down, so the gyro is pointing down, I can fly the crazy thing, the Mode 2 Stiletto. Also on the back, I just hot glued the antenna. I don't know how well that's going to work in a crash. We'll find out and see. But that's the only way I could really get the antenna the way I like it. I don't think there's too much room, too much air gap between the stack, the ESC, the Millivolt, and then the TBS Unify HV Race. But it was a headache. I've never had such a build take so long to figure out the software. And I don't know what's going on with RaceFlight. Guys, the Millivolt OSD, maybe it's too new, I don't know. But there's not much information out there about it. And it just wrecked my mind trying to figure out what was going on with it. As soon as I would give it throttle, it would reboot. And the fix around is having the gyro face down. So if you have one of these flight controllers and you're having problems with it, make sure the gyro is facing down. RaceFlight, if you're watching this video, guys, figure this out. Put some information in the box, in the literature, saying that, hey, the Millivolt, the gyro has to be facing down for it to fly. I don't know. I mean, the thing is, the price point on it paired with the ESC, I think that information should be included in the box. But guys, there it is. It finally flies. And stay tuned. I'm going to put some FPV in this video, so that will be up next. So continue to watch, guys. Thank you.
A lot of talent so I could get through the door, cause the way that you did it, I think you done corrupt the whole hip-hop sound. So now we gotta follow up. We be falling up, never falling